Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts, you still feel a sense of something invisible sabotaging you? Something that affects your mind, your body, and even your relationships, without you being able to identify where it comes from. You are a chosen of God, with a divine mission. But you may not realize that you are the target of invisible forces that are trying to drain your energy, divert your purpose, and block your connection with the Creator. These energetic parasites are not physical creatures, but silent spiritual interferences. They take advantage of moments of emotional weakness and spiritual vulnerability, such as traumas or even periods of personal growth, to infiltrate your energetic field. Often you feel inexplicable fatigue or thoughts that seem not to belong to you. But what is happening is much deeper than you realize. These entities, which act as if they were energetic implants, are stealing your divine essence, trying to divert your mission. In this video, we will explore how the chosen can be affected by these invisible forces, and how they often infiltrate so subtly that we can't even perceive them. How does this happen? What signs can you observe to know if you are being controlled by these energetic parasites? And more importantly, how can you free yourself and reclaim your true essence, restoring your direct connection with God? You are not alone on this journey. The truth is that the chosen are more sensitive to these energies than they realize. And that's why we need to understand how to protect ourselves from spiritual interferences that can divert us from our purpose. Stay with me until the end of this video. I will show you how, with faith and discernment, you can free yourself from these influences and fully live the life that God has planned for you. And if this topic touched something inside you, don't forget to follow the channel. Here, we are not just sharing information. We are revealing spiritual tools so that you can protect yourself and live in harmony with your divine purpose. The invisible parasites are not physical creatures. Rather, they are spiritual forces that act imperceptibly, affecting your energy in a silent way that is often difficult to identify. They do not knock on your door with a physical attack, but instead enter your life through emotional and spiritual gaps, manipulating your mind and emotions stealthily. Although you cannot see them, you feel the effects they cause: an inexplicable exhaustion, disordered thoughts, and in many cases a constant sense of discouragement. These energetic parasites have no form or body. They exist within an invisible energetic field that all of us carry. They connect to this field and begin to manipulate our spiritual essence. What may initially seem like a simple feeling of fatigue or discouragement transforms into a deeper problem, affecting clarity of thought and even relationships. They act like an invisible net, pulling your energy without you realizing it. Over time, these parasites feed off that energy until you feel exhausted and lost. These parasites can be compared to energetic kidnappings because they steal your spiritual vitality. You feel it, but you don't understand the reason. It seems your mind is cloudy, your thoughts are not your own, and you are constantly feeling drained without knowing why. They create a disconnection from your true essence, pushing you away from the divine clarity that should be present in your life. These parasites, being invisible, become even more treacherous. They do not have a defined form, but the way they affect the mind and body is evident. They act like a spiritual fog, altering your perception and distorting your view of yourself and the world around you. They can cause vicious cycles of self-criticism, insecurity, and even fears that you have never felt before. But how do these parasites settle in? They take advantage of moments of emotional fragility and vulnerability. After traumas, losses, periods of low self-esteem, or even a genuine interest in spiritual seeking, your energy becomes more susceptible. This creates an open door for these invisible entities to enter, capitalizing on your pain or your search for answers. They feed on your vulnerability. Instead of finding comfort and healing, you find yourself trapped in a spiral of negative emotions that seem endless. And the worst part is that you begin to think that this is normal or that it is part of your spiritual journey. But no, this is interference, and you need to understand that this is not something you should accept. The good news is that, with awareness and spiritual protection, these parasites can be identified and removed. They do not have absolute power over you. The key is to strengthen your connection with God, keep your mind and spirit protected, and learn to discern the energies around you. You have the power to restore your energy and find the clarity you need. The invisible parasites that affect the mind and body of the chosen do not present themselves in an obvious way. Often they enter silently, manipulating your thoughts, emotions, and actions in such a subtle manner that you do not even notice it at first. However, the effects begin to manifest, and you start to feel something strange, as if you are out of control, lost in a whirlwind of confusing feelings. The mind, which should be clear and focused, becomes a battleground. You feel like you cannot concentrate, that your thoughts are constantly scattered and sometimes contradictory. There is a feeling of mental confusion, as if your mind is foggy. This is not just simple fatigue. It is a deep mental exhaustion, as if you have been drained without understanding why. Sometimes it feels as though your own ideas and decisions are not yours, but influenced by something or someone that is there, unseen. Along with this, a constant sense of irrational fear may arise. A fear that has no clear reason, but prevents you from moving forward, making decisions, or even living your life with confidence. These fears are fed by an invisible energy that suggests something wrong will happen, without any concrete reason to believe that. As this fear grows, it begins to infiltrate every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your career or your spiritual beliefs. Guilt can also become a constant presence. No matter what you do, there is always a feeling that something is not right, that you are not enough or do not deserve what you have. This guilt is not yours. It is a weight placed by these invisible parasites who manipulate your emotions, making you believe that you are not up to the mission that God has for you. They distort your perception of yourself, causing you to constantly doubt your worth and your divine purpose. In addition, there may be internal voices that speak critically and negatively. These voices do not come from you, but present themselves as if they were your own thoughts. They constantly question your decisions, your value, your faith. These sounds can be one of the most treacherous forms of control that these parasites employ. They do not act abruptly, but silently, undermining the confidence and inner peace that you should have. These parasites do not only affect the mind, the body also begins to suffer the consequences. You may notice an inexplicable fatigue, a tiredness that does not go away no matter how much you rest. Physical energy seems to disappear without explanation. The body starts to respond negatively, as if it is in a constant state of alert, ready to react, but for no apparent reason. In the aspect of relationships, these invisible parasites can create blockages. You begin to attract people and situations that are not beneficial for you. Toxic relationships, conflicts without clear reasons, and a constant feeling of being misunderstood or misinterpreted. This invisible influence starts to create vicious cycles where you find yourself trapped in negative situations, unsure of how to escape, as if being pulled by something you cannot control. The crucial point is that these invisible parasites operate like a web that infiltrates the unconscious. They do not attack directly, but control your choices and emotions so deeply that you begin to make decisions that do not reflect what you truly desire. They create a field of distortion, making you act against your own interests and often even against God's purposes for your life. And all of this happens without you even realizing it. It is as if you are being manipulated from the inside out, and with each passing day, a little more of your spiritual essence is being drained. This invisible control begins to affect your confidence, your spiritual clarity, and even your connection to God. And the worst part is that many chosen ones do not even know they are being controlled by these energies. They feel lost, directionless, and often guilty or ashamed, believing that something is wrong with them. The key to breaking this influence is to recognize these signs and understand that you do not have to accept this manipulation. By reconnecting with God and your true spiritual essence, you can reverse these effects and regain control of your mind and body. The awareness that these parasites have no power over you is the first step toward freedom. Being a chosen of God comes with a divine mission, but often this path is not free of spiritual obstacles. The invisible parasites, entities that infiltrate your energy without you realizing, can act in subtle ways, manipulating your emotions and thoughts. These parasites have the power to interfere with your spiritual journey, and it is important to learn to recognize the signs that they are affecting your life. One of the most alarming signs you may notice is disturbing or sexual dreams. These dreams, often invasive, can leave you with a feeling of discomfort and violation. You may wake up feeling as if you have lost something important, or even with an inexplicable feeling of guilt. These dreams are not products of your mind, but rather an attempt by the parasites to invade your energetic field, creating an imbalance and trying to divert your peace. The feeling of being watched is another sign that these parasites are acting in your life. Often you may feel uncomfortable, as if something is manipulating your thoughts or emotions. This feeling of constant vigilance is not simple paranoia. It is a sensation created by the parasites to destabilize you, causing you to lose control over your own emotions and feelings. This creates a constant state of alertness, taking away your peace and making it difficult for you to focus. In addition, the invisible parasites may be behind the repetitive trauma cycles you face. If you notice that no matter how much time passes or how many efforts you make to heal old wounds, it seems that the same patterns of pain and suffering always return. This may be a sign that something is affecting your energy. These cycles are an attempt to keep you trapped in a negative emotional pattern, which hinders your spiritual and personal growth. Constant fatigue, especially after engaging in spiritual work or even during everyday activities, is one of the most common signs that your energy is being drained. You may feel a deep tiredness, as if your energy is being sucked out from within you. This type of exhaustion is spiritual, not just physical, and arises when the parasites begin to interfere with your energetic field. Even if you sleep or rest, this fatigue does not go away because your energy is constantly being drained. Finally, sudden changes in behavior are one of the clearest ways to perceive that these parasites are affecting your energy. You may find yourself acting impulsively, with drastic changes in your moods or attitudes, without understanding why. It is as if you are losing control over your own personality, being swept along by intense and unstable emotions. This emotional instability is a reflection of the interference from these parasites, who manipulate your feelings and distort your essence. These signs should not be ignored, as they are alerts that something is interfering in your spiritual journey. By recognizing these symptoms, you take the first step toward restoring your energy and protecting yourself from these negative influences. Do not allow these parasites to control your life or divert your divine purpose. Aware of these signs, it is time to take action, seek spiritual help, and reconnect with God to restore the clarity, peace, and strength to follow your true path. The energetic parasites connect to the chosen because of the spiritual sensitivity they carry. The divine mission they possess, along with their ability to receive high spiritual vibrations, makes them targets for these negative forces. These parasites do not enter without reason. They take advantage of open doors, often caused by trauma, emotional pain, or failures in spiritual protection. One of the most common moments of vulnerability occurs when you go through deep emotional traumas. Situations of emotional abuse, unexpected loss, or other experiences of suffering can make you more susceptible. When these emotions are not properly processed, they create a fissure in your energetic field. Unresolved pain becomes a fertile ground for negative energies to infiltrate and begin to work against your divine mission. Instead of moving forward with strength, you start to feel that you are being controlled, without understanding why. In addition, parasites can find space when individuals seek spirituality without adequate protection. Often, people engage in spiritual practices, such as meditation, rituals, or other forms of connection with the divine, but without the right guidance. When there is no discernment, or if the individual opens themselves without proper protection, it is easy to allow external forces to invade and manipulate their energy. This is particularly dangerous when one seeks deep spiritual experiences, but without God's guidance, becoming vulnerable to forces that try to divert the chosen from their purpose. The chosen, due to their spiritual sensitivity, are constantly exposed to the energies around them. They are not just beings that receive light and love from God, but they also emit that energy intensely. This light is powerful, but it can also attract negative forces, especially when they are in periods of high spirituality. Therefore, these parasites attempt to infiltrate during moments of intense connection with the divine, trying to take the focus away from the chosen and divert them from their path. It is essential to understand that these parasites do not act in a direct or aggressive manner. They are cunning, acting like a mist that slowly contaminates the mind and emotions. When you are in tune with God, your energy is extremely strong and vibrant, which makes it even more targeted. Parasites cannot be fought off merely with strength or determination. Discernment, spiritual protection, and, above all, constant vigilance are necessary to ensure they do not enter through the door of your vulnerability. The chosen become targets because of their great potential and mission. Their true strength lies in their ability to radiate light and do good, but this brightness also attracts the enemy. By understanding how parasites take advantage of emotional and spiritual gaps, the chosen can begin to protect themselves adequately. Prayer, meditation under divine guidance, and constant connection with God are fundamental to keeping negative energies at bay and preserving their purpose. The good news for the chosen is that the liberation from energetic implants is completely possible. These invisible parasites, which may have infiltrated your life, do not have absolute power over your divine essence. God, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, offers the path to healing. And this journey of liberation begins with the restoration of your spiritual connection with Him. The first powerful tool for healing is intense prayer. Prayer, when done with an open heart and sincere intention, creates a direct channel between you and God. During this moment of connection, you can ask for discernment, protection, and wisdom, allowing Him to reveal any spiritual interference that is affecting your life. Prayer is also a means to strengthen your faith, and faith is one of the most important pillars for liberation. It creates a solid foundation upon which you can build your healing, as trust in God and in His protection is what will sustain you during this process. In addition to prayer, deep spiritual meditation is also an essential practice for healing. Meditating allows you to calm your mind and enter a state of receptivity so that you can hear divine guidance. During meditation, you connect with your true essence, free from the distractions of the outside world. This practice helps restore mental clarity, allowing you to more easily perceive the areas of your life where spiritual parasites are acting. Meditation also strengthens your connection with the Holy Spirit, who is the source of true healing. There are also more directed spiritual practices, such as healing rituals, which can be performed with the help of spiritual leaders or specialized therapists. These professionals have the necessary knowledge to identify and remove the negative spiritual influences that affect the life of a chosen one. These rituals, when performed with faith and pure intention, help to release trapped energies and restore balance in the body, mind, and spirit. The direct connection with God is the key to this healing. His power is limitless, and when you approach Him with humility and surrender, He can remove any invisible interference that has been placed in your path. Trusting in His protection and fully surrendering to His care will help restore the divine purpose for your life. With the removal of energetic parasites, you will be able to experience a spiritual renewal that brings mental clarity, restores vitality, and puts you back on the path of the divine mission that God has prepared for you. Remember that, even in the most difficult moments, God will never abandon you. Your healing is a journey of faith and patience, but with His help, you can be completely freed from the negative influences that try to divert your path. We have reached the end of this journey of understanding how energetic parasites can affect the chosen of God. But contrary to what it may seem, this conclusion is not one of defeat, but rather one of hope and overcoming. As chosen of God, each of you carries within yourself a divine strength that nothing in this world can shake. This strength comes from the Creator, and He has already prepared the way for you to overcome any spiritual obstacle, including the invisible parasites that try to divert your purpose. The journey of healing, as we know, is not easy. It requires patience, persistence, and faith. But it is a journey that is possible. Each step you take towards spiritual liberation is a step closer to your true power. Every time you recognize a spiritual interference and remove it from your life, you are not only healing yourself, but also drawing closer to the divine mission that God has for you. This mission is unique, and by purifying your mind and body of these negative energies, you will feel more aligned with it than ever before. Spiritual healing is not a simple task, but it is a journey worth taking. Each of us is called to fulfill a greater purpose, and these invisible parasites attempt to divert us from that purpose, distancing us from our true essence. However, God has already given us all the necessary tools to combat these forces. Through prayer, meditation, and divine protection, you can strengthen your spirituality and stay protected from any negative influence. The most important thing now is that you know you are not alone. God is with you, and with Him, nothing is impossible. When you trust in His guidance, He will always be by your side, leading your steps. By using spiritual practices correctly, you have the ability to cleanse your mind and body of any negative influence that may still be trying to infiltrate. Recognizing the signs of spiritual interference and taking action to eliminate these energies is a way to reaffirm your connection with God. If you feel that you are still being affected, remember that faith is the key to healing. Faith in God, in His promises, and in His capacity to restore and protect. Prayer is the bridge that connects you to this divine force, and when you pray with an open heart, transformation begins to happen. You do not have to carry the weight of these influences alone. God is ready to restore everything that has been lost and return peace to your life. By following this path, you will become stronger than ever. As chosen of God, you are called to transcend any spiritual difficulty. You are destined to live with the divine light that God has placed within you, and this light will shine even brighter as you free yourself from negative influences. Now is the time to strengthen yourself, to rise up, and to fulfill the divine mission with confidence, peace, and clarity. There is no obstacle that you cannot overcome. You are stronger than you think.